If palm-colored people didn't exist, black people would suffer. That's what a lot of palm-colored people think about black folks. In fact, that's what we call white entitlement or white privilege. Having a perception on the basis of how you've lived your life based on your experiences. A lot of palm-coloreds, it's not a lie or it's no joke that they've had it easy in their life. Opportunities come easily based on the sole purpose of their color, while it's very different from people from marginalized communities. And I think this is the reason why it creates an elusive, almost vague imagination in the palm-color mind. Take, for example, this palm-color person. He claims that a lot of palm-colored people have helped black people, including African countries. And without the assistance that African countries receive from the West, Africa wouldn't develop in any way. Even the development that we see in Africa today is based on that aid. But you tell me what you think about this notion. Do you think this palm-colored person is telling the truth, or is he just ignorant? And if he is, help me educate him in the comment section by leaving your perspective on what you think about this discussion.
How would black people survive on this planet if white people didn't exist? Now, some people might think of this as a joke, but this is actually a very serious question. There is nowhere on this planet an example of a self-sustaining and successful and thriving black community. I mean, let's take Africa, for example. The whole world is constantly providing aid and supporting Africa from all over the world, from America, from Europe, from Russia, from China. All these major self-sustaining countries are constantly providing aid and helping Africa survive. Same thing here in America. We have all these programs like Section 8 housing, welfare, food stamps that help out the black community. So it is a real question. How would black people survive and self-sustain if white people did not exist?
I think we'll be fine. I think we will do just fine. As a matter of fact, dare I say, we might do even just a little bit better, actually. Yeah, everybody feels me on that, right? But if the European was to, the white man or European or Caucasian was to just disappear off the face of the earth today, there's a little bit of that Caucasian, that European still in a lot of Africans. All my woke brothers and sisters know what I'm talking about. So yeah, we can get rid of the white man. We can do that. But what about a few brothers and sisters who have that internally? How are we going to deal with them? That's my question. Just a thought, that's all. Just my thoughts.
Y'all be coming for us unprovoked, and it's very telling. Y'all boldness and wanting to be a clan member it's coming out. It's coming out like a demonic spirit. Just let it out. Let the clanery flow. But I have some clarifying questions. Especially since you said that black people can't survive without white people because of us being on Section 8 and black people in Africa not being able to sustain their own villages, all without white people being able to take care of them. So I have some clarifying questions. Are you saying that black people couldn't survive on their own by building their own homes and infrastructure, kind of like how we built Harvard University and the White House? Are you saying that we couldn't cultivate the land to grow our own food, kind of like how we grew rice, cotton, indigo, tobacco, other vegetables to feed families, including y'all's? We all know what happened to the colonial society of Roanoke when they were left to their own devices, trying to feed themselves, and they just mysteriously died off because they were too lazy to cultivate the land. Moving on. Are you saying that black people wouldn't be able to survive without y'all when it comes to raising our kids? Because I distinctly remember laws being passed in the Carolinas preventing black women from staying home to raise their own children because y'all were too lazy to raise your own children. And so you made it illegal for black women to be stay-at-home mothers. Are you saying that we couldn't intellectually think for ourselves after y'all made anti-literacy laws, making it so that we could lose our lives if we decided to read and write, but we still went on to form our own institutions using the Morrill Land Act of 1890 to build some of the best HBCUs in the country, where we shell out some of the top black doctors in this country? We can go on and on about this, but I'm pretty sure that One thing that we would do so well without some of y'all is minding our own business, because y'all keep coming at us unprovoked. Now, what would you do if we no longer existed? Clearly, you would struggle to mind your own business, and you would have no one to blame for your mediocrity.
Troglodyte male monkey and winter. Is this you? Yeah. You all really think you all be on to something, don't you? Let's get it.
How would black people survive on this planet if white people didn't exist?
The same way we did prior to the age of exploration and colonization that saved your ancestors, with Nubian empires such as the Kingdom of Kush, in ancient civilizations like the land of Punt that the Egyptians referred to as the land of the gods. Oh, the Egyptians are not even on this list. Let's get it. With city-states like Carthage that were the North African hub of commercial activity and flourished for over 500 years. That would be longer than the United States has been in existence. The great Ethiopian kingdom of Axiom, while Rome was rising and falling, its influence was spreading throughout Africa from a base in Ethiopia. And without white people, the Mali Empire got along just fine through Western Africa with its crown jewel of Timbuktu, an educational center that it took Europe hundreds of years to even catch up with. Oh, and let's not forget the Songhai Empire of West Africa that encompassed more area and territory than all of Western Europe combined. And my personal favorite, the Great Zimbabwe, that rivaled anything Europe had to offer in 1100 CE. It was a trading mecca. Goods and services were traded there from all over Africa, and also included trade with India, China, and the Arabian Empire. Now, you were saying something else.
There is nowhere on this planet an example of a self-sustaining and successful and thriving black community. I mean, let's take Africa, for example. The whole world is constantly providing aid and supporting Africa from all over the world, from America, from Europe, from Russia, from China. All these major self-sustaining countries are constantly providing aid and helping Africa survive.
What you reference is not aid. It's capitalistic colonization, because European colonialism is alive and well in Africa today. And America, Russia, China, all of them are jumping on the bandwagon. Why, you may ask? Because Africa, by far, contains the most mineral wealth of any continent on this planet. Oil, copper, gold, diamonds, all the precious metals are found in Africa, as well as timber. That is why all of these nations you mentioned want to get a foothold and colonize in Africa today. It is not Africa who needs Europe. It's Europe and America who needs Africa. Now continue with some more of your delusions.
Same thing here in America. We have all these programs like Section 8 housing, welfare, food stamps to help out the black community.
Section 8. Let's make this quick, because your stupid ass could have just Googled this. But about half, 49%, of projected base Section 8 recipients are white. About a third, 33%, are black, and 13% are Hispanic. That's Section 8. Moving right along. Next. Welfare. Something else you could have just Googled. You would have discovered that 75.2% of the welfare paid in 2020 went to retired workers and dependents accounts. And you would also discover that 36.5% of welfare recipients are white, while 25.8% are black.
Nowhere on this planet an example of a self-sustaining and successful and thriving black community.
There have been many examples in this country alone of self-sustaining, thriving black communities, but your ancestors could not stand to see them prosper and thrive. That's why you continually burnt them down. Communities like Colfax, Louisiana in 1873. Communities like Wilmington, North Carolina, where the first coup in this country actually took place when racist white supremacists couldn't stand to see elected black officials in power and ran them out of town and destroyed or took all their property. And let's not forget what happened in 1906 in Atlanta when white people were threatened by the upward mobility of the black community in Atlanta, and all of a sudden 4 random white women accused some unknown random black men of raping them, therefore kicking off a 1906 massacre in Atlanta. And probably the bloodiest moment in American history when it came to racial massacres occurred in Elaine, Arkansas in 1919, where the black population outnumbered the white population by 10 to 1, thriving 10 to 1. And when that thriving black community in Elaine, Arkansas got together and decided to demand justice with their economic might, what happened? Oh yeah, that's right. White people showed up and massacred them. Yeah, and let's not forget Rosewood, 1923, a thriving black community that Fannie Taylor decided to destroy by saying that she was raped by a black man. And who did they go get first? The local blacksmith. And before killing him, they made sure to torture and mutilate him and hung him from a tree and proceeded to start to burn down a thriving black community. Listen here, you poster child, for why your uncle should have had a better pull-out game on his sister. Black people don't need you all. We did not create the transatlantic slave trade because we needed you. You created it because you needed us. And we will be fine if you cease to exist tomorrow. And I said what I said.
That's all I had for you guys in today's video. Please remember to leave your own thoughts in the comment section below. This is very important. We get more educated in the comment section below than the actual videos. I mean, we've got people with a lot of knowledge out there, just that, you know, they don't have platforms to share that kind of knowledge. I'll leave my email in my about. So guys, if you've got anything that you want, a video that you want me to cover, please go ahead, send me an email and I'll definitely do that. If you have not subscribed to this channel, guys, please go ahead, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so that every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.
Our ancestors had to teach your ancestors how to properly bathe and groom themselves. Hell, we still doing that now. I think we would be fine. Trust me.
A lot of palm-colored people are ignorant. Simply put it that way, you can see from the comment section from his palm-colored buddies cheering him on, saying, bring it on, facts. Good question. You know, it's like they're saying, why didn't somebody think of this sooner? You know, they are cheering him on based on his ignorance, and they are mostly all of them just ignorant. You know, you shouldn't blame them. We should just mainly try to educate them. Media representation has helped emphasize this notion further. These guys are brainwashed. You can see some are saying it's true, real, interesting. You know, sad but true. Hear that, bro. So these guys do not get the fact that a lot of palm-colored nations, in fact, the majority of palm-colored nations have developed from the resources gotten from African countries on the backs of African young ones. In recent developments involving Congo, you can see how exploitation is going on there. Young people are digging through the mines with their hands, no tools. You know, people below the age of 12 digging with their hands, entering through small tunnels underneath there, just in search of cobalt, the resources that we're using to power our phones today and our electric cars. And palm-colored people like this guy have the audacity, based on their ignorance, to say that Africa got its assistance from palm-colored nations. What sort of assistance did African countries get from palm-colored nations such as yours? The only assistance we got is assistance in exploiting ourselves and using ourselves as human torches to light your cities. Me saying that palm-colored people like this one pain me is an understatement. I'm inflicted, you know. There's this pain that most Africans feel when they see palm-colored people like this one. We respect them highly in our countries, and I wonder why we do that. Our leaders, you know, have created this perception in our citizens that we should respect palm-colored people regardless of whichever country they come from. You know, it's so sad that we accept wealth and statuses of height in our societies based on palm-coloredness. in black communities in African countries. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me educate you. A lot of African countries in the southern part of Africa especially have this notional narrative that suggests that you're not doing well in life unless you're living in areas that are dominated by palm colors, unless you're shopping in stores that are palm color dominated. You know, that is so absurd, isn't it? But that is wealth and status of height in our societies in African countries, some African countries at least. And if you know another African country that does this, apart from the southern part of Africa, you leave your thoughts in the comment section. It's this sort of absurdity in the African folk that makes palm coloreds feel more entitled and privileged than us black people, even in our own countries. Remember how we saw those palm colored people in South Africa, especially talking about how they own land there. And I also heard from a South African brother saying that 80% of South African land is owned by palm coloreds, and only the 20% is run by black people or the black government. At least that's what I heard. The absurdity and naiveness of African leaders has sadly led to this. Palm colored people uphold high positions in African countries, and black people have to go to palm coloreds in search of jobs, which they end up most of the times not getting, because those jobs are sadly reserved for other palm colored people. Maybe they are relatives or friends, you know, and some palm color people from palm color nations have these leaders in high ranks here in African countries that they do look up to in search of land. And these people connect them to chiefs in villages where they get big lands, like massive lands, you know, unimaginable for a black person to own. But palm coloreds do own land in African countries, you know, big lands, bigger than blacks do. I guess that's where the majority of palm color entitlement and privilege does stem from. But let's look at Congo for a moment, right? Congo is one great African country that the West has really benefited from greatly. They've developed our devices. Even the device that I'm using right now, I bet it's got a resource that was gotten from Congo. So the DRC shipped 16.1 billion US dollars worth of exported goods to the world in 2021. And then the funny fact is that this report doesn't even state which part of the world, it just says the world. This dollar amount reflects a 30.8% increase from 12.3 billion US dollars in 2017. So you're seeing year by year it's increasing its exports. But who is exporting exactly and benefiting palm color countries? The West, right? But Western people don't even have that incentive to assert the things that they've benefited or stolen from African countries, right? So they leave their people in the dark. And palm colors like this one have the audacity with their ignorance to sideline the notion that palm color people do benefit from Congolese resources in other African countries. So year over year, the value of Congolese exports increased by 13.9%. That's huge. From 14.1 billion US dollars during 2020. So from this narrative, we can see how the benefits reverberate for palm color dominated countries, right? And it's also estimated that Congolese resources amount or would amount to 24 trillion US dollars, all the resources combined. But I don't really know if it's all the resources combined, but they are saying they're estimating about 24 trillion US dollars of resource benefits that they will reap from Congo. So are you seeing what palm coloreds are doing to African countries? They are underdeveloping us while developing their countries and their gadgets using our resources and brainwashing the masses of their citizens to think that African countries don't develop because we lack incentive ideas or innovation or resources. And that is the reason why it is important for you and I to help amplify each other's voices and to continue talking about these narratives. The more people awaken to these notions, the more we're going to be having strength to fight for ourselves. And we should also pray for one another and pray for Palestine as well as Congo. With that being said, leave your thoughts in the comment section regarding today's discussion and what you think about palm-colored people like this one who are ignorant to the fact that Africa has far enriched Western countries than Western countries have enriched Africa. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Signing off for now. God bless you and take care.